Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent hosts, a little less effervescent today with less sleep. Your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi touch from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
Okay, look it up. Antonym for effervescent. Because that's the era I'm in as well. And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her strong, confident, intelligent, independent, and dependable era. And we'll just
depressed. Say it just says still depressed, flat or depressed. I'm not depressed.
I'm still in flat. I wanted to lay in bed all day. But I'm also going to add gobsmacked to my list today. I am gobsmacked by a recent turn of events.
Sullen. I'll go sullen.
Okay, sullen. I mean, seriously, what's tired?
Stoic, glum, stoic, strained.
Glum is glum. Yeah, I'm in my glum era.
Phlegmatic.
It's fall. It's fall.
I'm in my phlegmatic era.
This is, if we were in Regency times, we would take to our bed.
Yes.
This is where we are at.
Morose.
Morose is such a good word.
It is a good word.
I am in my morose era.
Yes. My son had me up. I was up till 2:30 writing notes for the pod, and then my son woke up and I was up till about 5:30 when my husband took him because I was done skis.
Yeah, I woke up to a message going, can we start later today because it's a holiday over here and I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fine by me. I didn't even want to roll out of bed today. I didn't roll out of bed till 12:20.
I had a very busy weekend. We went over the bays to a little French colony called Acabroa, and we took our German student over to experience that. We found her. We didn't find seals, but we did find baby penguins, the smallest penguins in the world, might I add. They were very cute. And
why didn't I get pictures of cute little baby penguins?
I will send. It was just one video. And we had to like wade through the water. Did I take swimmers? No, I did not, because I was not with child, but the opposite. I don't know what you do.
The real opposite.
The real opposite. I don't know what you call that in Regency time. I'll have to look it up.
What, you're having your courses?
Having my courses. Thank you. Having my courses. And so I didn't take swimmers and then decided, it's high tide. The only way to get to the penguins is to wade through the water. So, if you're near the water and you can see water, it's no longer undies, it's swimmers. And so here I am wading through this water and it's just below the level that it needs to be. And then the waves hit. And it was no longer below the level it needed to be, and my butt got wet. And we were multiple hours from home.
Oh, goodness.
Joys. But we saw penguins.
That would have been what kept me awake.
And then yesterday was a big gardening day. Of course, it was Bunnings Day. It's the weekend. It's Bunnings Day. I really need to take stocks in Bunnings. Literally, all my money goes there. For real.
Okay. They should sponsor us.
They should sponsor us, honestly. I shout them out often enough. Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of our lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and deeper than the sea went into my aunties, diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain both water and spoilers.
Dearest, listen, we RSVP'd and we have entered the Bridgerton Featherington engagement party. The only thing messier than Tasha's knickers after wading through the water.
It was salty.
So were a lot of people.
Saltier than Portia.
We see Kate's insecurities, but also all of the reasons she is Antony's perfect Viscountess. We see Portia draw attention away from Penelope and to herself many times. We see Cressida crashing, much to Chaos Colin's karmic delight. Lady D and Violet prove to be wizards. Lord Anderson is stealth. And Gregory grew up overnight. This soiree is like an episode of Melrose Place or The Real Housewives of Mayfair. It's deliciously messy, and we get down in the mud with Colin and Penn.
If only Gregory's head grew enough overnight to fit that hat.
He was just trying to be as tall as his brothers, poor thing.
This is the 1800 equivalent of putting lifts into your shoes.
Yeah,
The
for
hat that
real.
you're wearing
They still
accounts
did.
for your height.
They did lifts. They did extra sole for a short
Mhm.
man, but he also would have a very tall hat.
That's adorable. Okay, it's time for pot snack.
Have it queued up too.
Matzah, feta, queso, cheddar. Nothing in this life is better. Crackers, butter, meats, and cheese. I sure love charcuterie.
All right. I love it.
Charcuterie. Do you love a good charcuterie board? What is your pod
Yes.
snacks of the day, Patty?
So you had a visitor that took a while, so part of my pod stacks are already, but I'm having leftover pizza from Antonio's, which is a local place. I think there's a couple of locations of them, but they're like a Medina County thing. I had a Philly cheesesteak pizza. They call it the Portobello, some other, and then their Freddy's bread, which is their version of cheesy bread, which is my favorite cheesy bread of any pizza place ever. I make a meal out of that. And then I went out and about today. I found my son's Christmas present. Somebody was selling brand shoes on Marketplace, and I went out to pick them up via porch pickup. And I went through and got myself a DQ frozen cake cupcake, which I love a DQ frozen cake. I usually get them for my birthday all the time. Every year I get a DQ frozen cake and share it with my family. But throughout the year, sometimes, because you only have one birthday, you want to have a frozen cake. And I mean, you can get a frozen cake for any occasion, but when it's just me,
Like, do you mean like ice cream cake?
Yes.
If you ever get me a cake of any kind, let it be an ice cream cake, because although I am in the body of an adult, this is definitely the mind of a child, and I want ice cream cake.
Well, the reason I love DQ ice cream cake, not to be confused with Baskin Robbins ice cream cake, because Baskin Robbins actually uses cake as part of their layer. DQ does not. I do not like cake and ice cream together, because they change the molecular structure of each other, and you get crummy ice cream and you get soggy cake. So I love a DQ ice cream cake because it's just chocolate ice cream on the bottom, vanilla ice cream on the top, and in the center is a cookie crunch fudge mixture, which they need to make thicker. It needs to be a thicker layer, period. But they make cupcakes of it now, so you can buy one for your own individual use. And I had my own individual Halloween themed, actually Day of the Dead. It had a little Day of the Dead skull sugar candy thing, but it was really cute. And I was going to show you it, but you took too long talking to your uncle and I ate it all.
I saw, the guy that I talk about who throws his glasses when he's excited about food. Apparently, I think it was Baskin Robbins were doing this like cube cake, and it was basically like they put like in a little not a freeze dried, dry ice kind of baggy thing, a complete cube of like maybe 27, I think it was like a three by three of every cake flavor that they have in like these little
ice cream flavor.
Yeah, like these little like couple bite ice cream bites.
Oh, like petit. That would be yum.
I was like,
by the way,
my lactose
Tangent
intolerance.
Squad.
I would have to be eating this actively on the toilet, because I would not be leaving that for a week.
Like Tangent Squad, I just want to tell you today, no tangent was mitigated in the process of this episode.
I've had.
We're gonna hit.
I've had no sleep.
I will not.
This is okay. This is the season of the tangent, because this is like a 20-minute chunk of this episode, this one event, which is the Featherington Bridgerton engagement party.
And there's so much.
There's so much. Like, this is probably going to be a four-parter. I was writing for hours my notes last night, and I only got, I would say, not even halfway through it, to be honest. So it's definitely going to be a big chunk. Now, we've done the math. We've got 13 weeks and 3 and a bit episodes left to go. It's going to be very dicey. We're going to see what we can do. But we might tell us what your thoughts are. Obviously, when Bridgerton season 4 comes out, we want to be fresh and current, and obviously, like, we're all going to be really excited about the new drop and how it's all going. But we also don't want to forget about our OGs, Penelope and Colin, because they are our king and queen. So we are trying to figure out a way that I'm guessing we will get through episode 6 by that point. How you want us to still focus on episodes 7 and 8 whilst also dropping new content. Do you want us to do like an every other week kind of a situation? If you could drop ideas below.
Or we could attempt to drop, like we were thinking, maybe doing midweek drops
That our timeline's already pretty tight as is, though.
Yeah,
that's my
but they
concern,
would be
'cause-
a midweek drop would probably be the season 4 content, because it's so new, and we won't be like, we'll be excited about it, but because we still have to finish season 3, I think it'll be more of like our first impression. Oh, we could just do that through the second drop, so that we can do pod on the weekend and finish up season 3, but do midweek drops, time it at an hour, and do it and have it be called first impressions, like Masquerade Ball, first impressions. What did we notice with our first? Because we missed a lot of our first impressions with this pod, because we put them in our chat, but by the time we get to the episode, we're not trying to search back through our voice
still
notes.
going to be a lot of extra work, so we're trying to figure out how, like, because I don't want to overcommit myself either, so we're just got to figure out how to make this work. All right,
so you give us some ideas, guys. We're trying to figure it out how we do this, because we are not going to finish season 3 before season 4 drops. We know this.
For the reference, people know Daddy does not have a gun. Stephen plays airsoft, a toy gun. No guns were placed in my house in the making of this video. Tash does not believe in guns. Let the record state, Ezra Michael, do not try to throw me under the bus here. There is no guns in my household, nor will there ever be.
You sent that as a voice note to us. I don't think that made it into any kind of...
Ezra just yelled it out. He opened the
I didn't hear it.
Oh, Ezra opened the door and yelled out, "Daddy's got a gun!" Janie's
yeah, and this
got a
reference is
gun.
from the other day we were talking about guns, and she said, "We do not own a gun," and Ezra was like, "Daddy's got a gun." And he's got an airsoft gun.
Just
but to a 4-year-old, they don't know the
gun.
difference.
Toy.
Yeah.
Toy. For games, Ezra Michael. All right. So I know I read this part in the previous episode, but I also wanted to go back to it because I think it really relates, especially. Actually, I think we start out with this Bridgerton interaction, and then I'll read out the Lady Whistledown and how it relates to Portia in this moment. So we are starting out at the engagement party, but we must make haste into it.
Yeah.
37 minutes 30 is where this scene takes place. And I've kind of broken down the scenes into like the different groups of people to try and give you guys like timestamps or like some sort of marker as to where we get up to, because I honestly, there's a lot to talk about in this episode, and I have no idea.
It jumps from story to story because there's side stories going on in the middle of this as well. And before we start, chronologically going through or whatever, I just want to bring up 2 things that I don't know if you had thought about or anybody out there had thought about. So why is the engagement party just a party? Why is it not a ball? And how do we know it's not a ball? Because the ballroom floor right under the chandelier, which they do that beautiful pan shot that's all the way back, and you see the brothers like directly under the chandelier. They're off in the distance from it. But what's directly under the chandelier? A table of desserts.
Yeah.
They have a small band. I think there's like 2 people.
Three, I think.
2 or 3 people playing instruments. It's very small, very intimate. They have the ballroom floor covered, like the center, the table that Colin was hung over at the morning of the failed wedding in season 2. That table now has, and that is part of my lead-in of background for this. That's got desserts on it. They do not plan on having any dancing. And I think, and Eloise is being Eloise this whole time. So I think these are some things I think that play into this. Okay.
Sarah is going to enjoy my scathing review of Eloise today.
This is the first Bridgerton anything at Bridgerton House since the failed ball that nobody showed up at because Penelope outed Eloise in Whistledown. So there's that added layer for Eloise of the last time Penelope was in her house where she was invited was this. Like, it was empty. Like, this is the first time Pen's been there, been invited. And 2, the table right below the chandelier is the table where Colin was at the beginning of the failed wedding. So the beginning of the Bridgertons, like, huge scandal of stuff going on and what makes them who they are in the ton and how they're hurting that. And Colin was hung over at that table. And now look where we are now, like about a year later, right? Like, but then 3, that very ball that nobody showed up at was supposed to be the Bridgertons trying to show the ton that nothing was wrong, right? That Kate and Edwina were still happy with the Bridgertons. They were all friends. And Kate felt like she was responsible for that entire mess, for not being open with her sister sooner. And she's the one who planned this party. So she purposely planned it small because she wasn't sure if anyone was going to come.
I think it's also like a lot of pressure on her, like for so many different people being there judging, like literally doing a portrait and just being there to judge.
Oh yeah, people are coming in. People are some people probably did come to just be curious and see how the family was faring with Kate, who was not of the ton, technically.
Sorry, team. There are likely going to be many intermittents today, as it is a public holiday in England. Do I remember? I remember what day it is. I think Labor Day. Do I actually know what Labor Day is for? I do not. I'm sure it's to do with voting, but I could not actually tell.
Our Labor Day is a celebration of the unions and everything finally, and the labor movement finally getting proper working conditions for employees. 40-hour work week, days off.
Okay. In New Zealand, Labor Day celebrates the struggle of an 8-hour working day, improved working conditions, and fair wages. There we go. I thought it was... I had no idea.
So your Labor Day is the same as our Labor Day. It's just a different day.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so let's jump in. 37 minutes 30. Kate approaches all 3 Bridgerton brothers. I have a lot to say about Benedict in this one, and I just love him. Benedict is the first one to compliment Kate by saying, "You truly have outdone yourself, sister." Firstly, that statement speaks to how easily they have accepted her into the Bridgerton family. He says that line with complete familial love. And I was going to say this, my notes on this are way down low, but I may as well just jump into it now. Tash does what Tash does best, and she researched. From the 1400s onwards, you would refer to someone in this regard as your sister-in-law. In the 1800s, in the dictionary, it very specifically states, like a dictionary from the 1800s, very specifically states you would refer to them as your sister-in-law. So the fact you hurt your
Bridgertons consider a married-in person as family.
Just family. And that's...
because even Colin telling Eloise, she's to be your sister soon.
She's to be your sister. Like there's no
view
distinction.
Family very differently.
Like, you know, when people are like, oh, it's my second cousin, and it somehow means to kind of like distance yourself a little bit from them, like as in like, oh, well, we're not as close because it's a second cousin. But for me, like I very much get Benedict's vibe on this one, because for me, a cousin is a cousin. I don't care how distantly we are related. We are family, and that is the entire distinction. So like I love that Benedict has just completely accepted Kate in, and she is just, this is my sister.
I agree with you, and I know that they had this interaction scripted for that reason, so we could see that Kate is fully accepted in the family, right? But the part that bothers me about it, because this isn't the book. These men do not have bachelor lodgings.
Yes.
They are living in the house, and they just had a greeting. She walks up to them and greets them and talks about how dashing they look, and they have this whole interaction like they haven't been there all day, like they don't live there. Like they didn't get ready there. Like that bothers me so much.
That's actually a really funny observation.
Like this isn't like Colin isn't coming from Bloomsbury. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't have bachelor lodgings. Their bachelor lodgings are upstairs.
And I think for his this specific statement that he says, you truly have outdone your sister. Yes, he has seen it all go into play, but now with all the people and all the food and all the band, like the whole thing all put together and the people in it, I think I think he is so observant, and I think he's actually picked up on Kate's anxieties and the feeling to and the need to be perfect for both the Ton and for Anthony. Anxieties that he knows all too well himself, because they are pressures that Anthony has unintentionally but intentionally put on him as well. Like they have both felt the expectations of the Lord Bridgerton.
Yeah, now that he's done that job, he understands what everything, like he's attended these parties, but he didn't know what went into, and now he does.
Yes. So I really love how observant that Benedict is, and how he just supports people exactly as they need to be supported. Like, he's actually incredibly good at picking up like exactly what they need. Like, even with Colin, with Penelope, he supported them the entire time. Like, whenever his brother's like, oh, there's Penelope, he's like, latest brother, I know exactly what that means, even if you don't know it yet. So I really,
Benedict knew.
Benedict knew before Colin knew.
I
just being cheeky.
like I
So
have my
I know. So Kate mentions how dashing they all look, as Anthony brings up that they are nothing compared to how dashing Gregory is looking in his top hat. Gregory and Hyacinth approach as Gregory states that he will be an Eton man soon, and he needs to start presenting himself as one. And they all kind of give him this look of like, how cute is he dressed up in daddy's clothing? And I know you had feelings on this moment.
Well, I wrote in my notes, I was like, this is the passing of the wannabe torch.
Yes.
Because Colin was the wannabe Bridgerton bro, and he couldn't get past that mantle of still being a child with Anthony. And now Anthony is doing the same thing to Gregory. And while in the carriage scene in the first episode, Colin was looking at Gregory more like, I've been where you are, bro. Like, I feel you, and commiserating with him. Now he's on the side of the bros, and he's got that, oh, how cute face. And he's finally elevated enough where he understands
I'm going to be a husband, so I'm grown up now.
Yeah, he's a child wanting to be a man. How cute. I get it now. Right. So,
well, and I think
you see that moment of he's basically passing the torch to Gregory, like, it's your turn now.
And I feel like it's a little less condescending when it's between Anthony and Gregory and Anthony and Colin, because for Gregory, he is essentially
he's still a child.
Well, no, he is essentially Anthony's son. Like, he has basically been raised as Anthony as his father, whereas Colin knew and was raised by his father. And so for Anthony to kind of step into that role would just feel uncomfortable. So he's in this like awkward stage of like, I'm your big brother, but I'm also the head of the household and I make the rules like a father, but I'm not your father. So when it's aimed at Colin, it was always a little bit more condescending, especially when he was dating Sienna and like making an absolute mess out of his own life and then trying to tell Colin how to live his life. That was definitely condescending and just
hypocritical, really.
It was incredibly
Marina wasn't at the level Colin could get if you look at terms of matches.
The funny thing is, Marina was higher in society than Sienna.
Yes, she was a poor relation of a titled family.
Yes, but she
still could manage. They sponsored her.
Yes,
but Anthony was telling him like, oh my gosh, why are you doing this? This is terrible. And then he ends up wanting to run away with Sienna. Like, he's gonna just abandon it all and run.
There's a whole bag of brand new clothes of his. Are you going climbing? I would long pants, so they will be we will have a little bit more peace and quiet because all three kids, we've got our German student, but then her best friend stays like most days of the weekend and sometimes during the week as well. So we usually have three kids nowadays. I went from 1 to 3, a very steep climb. Okay.
Well, and that's usually the case. Like a teenage girl must have her best.
Yeah. So I love Hyacinth because she states, perhaps Eton will make your brain grow big enough to fill that hat. Like, I think they all jest, and I think that those two jest probably the most harshly, but it's still nowhere near on the level of the Featheringtons. You can tell it is actually like said with love and cheekiness and not ever from a spiteful place. It's like very much reminiscent of how I jest with my family as well. Like, we are all incredibly with each other.
But what I've noticed with Hyacinth is she is a lot more scathing and cutting.
Oh yes.
When she is in front of the older siblings, and it's because she's technically the youngest. She's the baby.
Yes.
But she's taller than Gregory.
Yes.
So I think she's going through that rite of passage of like, I'm bigger than you, so I get to act older than you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's kind
came from a very large family, and my brother did it. As soon as he shot up taller than me and my sister. He's 6 years younger than me. He tried to be like.
I think it was a girl thing, as in like, if you're close in age, but you're a girl, you're like, well, I'm smarter than you, therefore I'm more mature than you, therefore you're the baby.
More mature than you, so I'm older. Yeah. But she's also now taller.
Yes.
Like, a lot taller. He's and I don't know if this is a Will Tilston thing or if they just played it out like this, but he's shorter than Florence. Not it's Florence, right? Florence
Yeah,
Hunt.
yeah. Florence, dude.
But the family like lets her do it because she's Hyacinth and she's the baby and she never got to meet her father, and she gets spoiled a lot for that reason. So she gets away with being scathing and cutting
I don't
with the
see her as being
siblings around.
spoiled though. Like they do spoil her, but she's not a spoiled kid.
No, she's not spoiled, but they spoil her in the fact that, I mean, like a father
She gets away
would
with a lot
discipline
more.
her for
Yes.
that. Yeah. Like
I
she,
don't know.
and if
She-
Violet was
she
closer, I think
reminds me
Violet
of
would
young
be
Violet.
like,
She reminds me of young Violet and how she got away with so much with her father because she was the apple of her dad's eye.
because she was being smart with her mother and disrespectful, but in a kind of respectful way, like
in a progressive way.
I just watched an interview on Kelly Clarkson with Kristen Bell, because Nobody Wants This came out. The second season came out.
Yes.
And Kristen Bell says she handles everything. She calls it sassy sweet. So she can stand up for herself and advocate for herself, but she does it in such a way where she still has sass, but she comes off sweet. So, it kind of, I don't want to say sticks it to the other person, but it teaches them, like Violet is sassy sweet. Hyacinth hasn't learned the sweet part of the sassy sweet yet. She's a little more sass. She's still working on it.
But only ever with her younger brother. With her older siblings, she's more the sweet.
But I think the reason it works with Gregory and that she gets away with it is because she is bolder around her older siblings, because they look down on all of them. So whereas they're looking down on Gregory for trying to appear older, they're looking down on Hyacinth like, oh my gosh, Hyacinth, you never know what's going to come out of her mouth, right?
But I remember being like that with my with my older cousins. Like you kind of want to show off a little and say you're a little bit meaner than what you probably should be, because you're like, well, I'm one of them. I'll be cool and they'll like me, and
Yeah, because they were teasing him and she thinks she's teasing him the same way, but it comes off so much more harsh because she's younger than he is.
So I love that Kate knows just how to navigate all of the moods though, and tells Gregory that as a man of the house, he needs to help greet guests and sends him off to entertain the new Lord Kent, Will and Alice's son. Nicky does, because he's still learning. Like, we literally just came from the previous scene of him learning how to navigate society, and he does his first faux pas by greeting Hyacinth first instead of Gregory, which I thought was kind of cute though, because he was like, "Milady."
I'm just gonna add in my 2 cents here real quick. This is where in the intro I said that Kate shows us why she is the perfect Viscountess for Antony, because she knows Gregory wants to feel grown up.
Yes.
She knows that Nicky is going to be nervous because he's new to the ton and he's learning proper public etiquette.
Yeah.
And she knows that his parents are going to be nervous because they've only been to a couple of balls so far, and they're bringing a pretty green Nicky.
It's his first time trudging his way into any sort of society, because like even though they were sort of in society a little bit with Simon, it was always in a very like home kind of situation, not out. And like he didn't go to the wedding between Simon and Daphne. It was only his parents. So he's never been in society at all.
No, not at all.
Or under their scrutiny as the new Lord Kent.
Kate understood everybody's insecurity in that moment because Regency etiquette.
Welcome to eldest daughter syndrome.
Well, and you probably very easily know this, like Regency etiquette, when you are greeting guests at your party, who greets them?
I actually have more notes on this later on.
The Lord and the Lady.
Yes.
Like when you walk in, you if you have a ball that's large enough, people walk in and your footmen announce them. Mm-hmm. You're not necessarily greeting everyone because it's too big of a ball. But if you're having a smaller soiree,
this is an intimate soiree.
Yes, they would have a receiving line of the Lord and the Lady. And then in this case, it would then be Colin and Penn. Penn would have already been there so that you could, greet and congratulate the happy couple.
Yes.
And then if Kate and Antony had any children of their own at the time, they would be next. And you walk in and you do a receiving line. Yeah, you do. And Violet would be down there. You do a receiving line and you greet everyone. And you must find your host when it's time to leave. to tell them you had a good time and you're leaving now.
Which is how the whole plot line of an off from a gentleman plays out for exactly that reason, because Benedict is
he's
searching
got to
for
find
the
a
host,
yeah,
before he can leave.
So Kate in this moment is clocking Gregory's wanting to feel grown up. Mm-hmm. She knows that Nikki is going to be extremely nervous and he might make mistakes, and she understands how intimidating her husband is, and he would not be the best choice for Nikki to greet. Right?
Even though he's softening, he's still not soft.
Not soft enough for a kid. Yeah. And
he's oobleck, depending on what temperature what speed you hit it at is depending on how much softness you get back.
I mean, trying to figure out how Antony's going to act in that moment is like playing whack-a-mole. You know, like she doesn't know what she's going to get. He might tease Nikki like he does his siblings, but Nikki won't understand it because he's not part of that family.
Nikki is even younger than Gregory by the looks of it. So like, she's like, well, if this is how he treats Gregory, like poor Nikki's got no show.
No chance. And she knows that Alice and Will are going to be nervous because they've been nervous about themselves in society. And this is now their child.
Well, and
so
when you think about it,
she like, purposely leads Gregory over to do it. This is the perfect outcome for everybody's insecurities.
Yes. And especially because they would feel like if Nikki made any faux pas that were strong enough to warrant attention, yes, attention, that it would be on them for introducing him into society too early. Like, I think they probably sat there like, oh, like, is it too early? He hasn't learned enough of the rules yet. What if something goes wrong? Oh, but it's the Bridgertons, and like that's the perfect way to introduce him in like a small familial setting where they will be gentle with him. They won't care if he does do faux pas, like introduce himself to Hyacinth instead of Gregory first. But the second part that I actually wondered about, sorry, you go on, because I will be changing subjects wildly.
No, because I was thinking too, like how I said that the reason this soiree is small, even though it's an engagement party and it should be a pretty big ball, that Kate was worried people wouldn't show up. And he's the only child that was invited that showed up. She probably thought people were not going to show. Yes. And so she included him.
Yes.
So that there would be guests, one, and the Mondricks are friends too. And it gives him a chance in a smaller setting to practice his skills.
And because Gregory and Hyacinth were going to be there because it's a family event, so it gives them someone to play with as well.
Yeah, because watch Alice when Gregory finally says, I have a new bow and arrow. Do you want to go see?
It's not on the timeline yet.
But what I'm saying is I'm just adding in that she also thought about how Alice would feel because they were visibly relieved that he was not going to be intermingling with the adults and making mistakes.
So the second part to this is I feel like they have Nikki introducing himself to Hyacinth first, and I feel like they're sort of setting up some sort of endearment between these two now. So when it comes out, eventually our season 4 theory or season 5 theory or whatever season they decide to throw this in, when it does come out that Agatha is going to be Alice's mum, that will fit with the book timeline of Hyacinth and Garrett. But that would still then make them related, wouldn't it? That would make them related, though. Closely related.
They would be related. I think, personally,
close enough that they couldn't get married?
I mean,
their granddads would be the same.
Be cousins.
They'd be first cousins.
They'd be cousins, and cousins could marry then, but nobody in 2028 or 2030 is going to want to see that. Who put it together, right? What I got out of this interaction was because we didn't get any flashback scenes of Colin and Eloise and Penelope meeting each other and getting to know each other as children. I think this was our way of seeing how it probably would have looked, right? Portia bringing over a little Penelope because Violet invited the new girl over or something. Kind of like how I wrote in my fanfic. And
can you imagine those two older sisters as kids? They would have been unruly, Prudence and Philippa.
Oh, they'd have been whiny. I made them whiny AF in my fanfic. They were
catty.
I figured they were whiny,
irritating, and
and they would be sitting with Daphne, and Daphne would be entertaining them, and Daphne would be like, "These two's gots to go."
She'd like they'd leave, and she'd like put her feet up, and she's like, "Mum, I'm exhausted. I need tea."
Yeah, in my fanfic, I have like them leaving because Violet fakes a headache to cut it short, but then Colin and Eloise both like fight for Penelope to be able to stay over, and she goes, well, let me ask if these girls want to stay, and the girls didn't want to stay because Daphne was boring, like, ordering them around, telling them what to do because they were having their own little tea and they wanted to go too. And that way Penn got to stay and they went home. But yeah, that's how it would be, because Daphne would have learned to feign a headache too from her mother by then.
Yes. So for those who don't know, Gareth and Hyacinth are Hyacinth's love match for her book, and he is the grandchild of Agatha Danbury. So he's a little bit young, so there's a lot of fan theories out there that he is going to be that, and I can definitely see it. I can definitely see them. I do wonder whether they're setting it up as a potential, sort of like they did with Araminta, so that depending on how they want to play out, they're just putting in options that they then can write it in if they wish, or depending on how much kickback they get for changing from the original books is depending on where they will kind of take it.
And we know that Danbury has 3 or 4 children from Queen Charlotte, I think. And we also know that they are flung all over the kingdom.
Yes.
They are not in Mayfair. They are not in London. And so I always assumed, especially with the Italian, like, how do we bring in Italian when she's from Sierra Leone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe one of her children settled in Italy, or they just change it all together to where they're trying to translate something from Sierra Leone. But maybe one of her children went back to Sierra Leone, and Gareth came to go to Oxford or something. You know what I mean? Or after, he went to Oxford and whatever.
I did actually see a bunch of stirrings on the Bridgerton page the other day about Lord Anderson and how did he get his title. Now, there is a few ways in which he could have gained his title, but it is very, very odd that he would have left Sierra Leone when he was the head of that household once his father had passed, and therefore he was the one in charge of those estates. And was it her husband or her family that was in mining minerals, as in gems? Was that where their money?
Family. Yeah, they were the rich ones.
Yes.
Her husband was not rich whatsoever. He married her.
No. He was rich. He spent his riches in order to keep up the facade that was the title that the Queen bestowed. He used up all of their funds.
Their funds. He married her. He was English.
No, there was no way that her family were going to. There's no way that their family was going to marry off a princess of Sierra Leone to someone who was not wealthy in his own right. You cannot buy a 4-year-old.
But I don't think he was as wealthy as her, though. No. They had the gemstone. Or no, they were the royalty. He probably had the gemstone.
Okay, could be the way that went.
Because he bought her at 3 years old.
Yes, she was a child. He bought her.
So he bought her. And my guess is they needed the money to try and fight the English occupation, and that didn't work.
Yes. So what we're thinking is that the English occupied the area, and
we're mixing real history with fiction here, people. We're trying to make it make sense.
Yeah. So what we've mused at is that the English had said to Lord Anderson, hey, we will be taking over this area, but we will bestow you lands in England where it's a much safer area for your children to grow up, because Sierra Leone at the time was very war-stricken and very volatile and not a safe place for children to be brought up. So we think that maybe he's like, oh, well, my sister's over there. Maybe that's a good place for me to set up new roots, much safer roots, and they're willing to bestow me title and land in England for this as a somewhat trade, and then he arrived in England to not get a warm welcome from his sister and went to the countryside instead.
And in our history
Why
reading
did I
of
finish
Sierra
my
Leone,
coffee? That's rude.
In our history reading of Sierra Leone, we also know that the English occupation pretty much took over wholeheartedly, and they displaced a lot of royalty and aristocracy from there, bringing them back to England purposely to be able to maintain their occupation. So my guess is he may not have left willingly. He might have been forced by the crown, we're going to give you lands. We're going to give you a title, but you're coming to England because you can't be here, because people who are loyal to you will try and rise up. You know what I mean?
I just realized I bypassed my own pod snacks. I was like, did we do pod snacks today?
You were like a squirrel at the beginning. I just was letting you do your thing.
I had avocado and tomato on pita bread today as my pod snack because it's a public holiday, so I did not have to drop off my son. So it was delicious. Thank you. Pod snacks.
See, we're tangents. No tangent is mitigated in this episode.
Yes.
We will be having them all.
So back to Gregory, Hyacinth, and Nikki. So Gregory picks up on the fact that he introduced himself to Hyacinth first, as opposed to Gregory, because obviously Gregory has been raised in the way of the Ton, so he does know that it was a faux pas. And he says, "Do not take interest in her." He knows it. They're setting it up. "I have a new bow and arrow. Would you like to see?" And Nicky turns to his parents for permission before running off. And I really like that he hasn't let the law title go to his head and he's still respectful to his parents. But essentially, as the Ton would see them, placeholders for him. Like, he could very well just be like a Fife kind of character and be like, well, I'm the Lord.
Yeah.
You guys are just minding the estate for me. But
Oh no, he's had too good of an upbringing for that.
I feel like they have, like, even though they're not gentry themselves, or weren't gentry, shall I say, I feel like they've raised him, like, and those kids just really beautifully. And I really actually, like, yes, my very first response was, why have we got so much screen time with his family? But the more I watch Bridgerton, the more I've actually come to really, really enjoy and respect the Mondrick family and everything that they stand for in the Ton, which is way more aligned with the Bridgerton values, to kind of show that the Bridgerton values are not the standard of the Ton.
Because of money.
Because of money.
Bridgerton values, a lot of the gentry believed that their way of living was the right way of living because they were blessed with money, because they were bestowed into that aristocracy lineage, and they had the money, that their way of living was the right way of living. And that's why, and it became more prevalent to me with Poldark, because Poldark is a darker book series.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a romance, although there is romance in it, but it's a more dark look at the world of England and Cornwall. Wink, wink, Cornwall, Portia, Cornwall.
How many times can we say Cornwall?
And really watching it kind of gives you an idea of why Portia is the way she is if she came from Cornwall. And I think there is some rich families there that are mostly merchant families, or they have titles, but they're not like knighted or anything. They come to London, they have homes in London, blah, blah, blah. But they also, I lost my train of thought. What were we saying?
Poldark.
There's a whole reason I brought up Poldark, but it's about the
darker, but has romance.
Yes, I need to go back to thought came to why I brought it up. A kind of etiquette.
Nicky, the way that he's being raised by his parents, and money equals not caring about your kids or not raising them.
Because George Warlegan, who was a blacksmith's grandson who made a lot of money in business and was trying to work his way into society, they literally called rich people the worthy. And the people who were just your average working people who were poor were called the vulgars.
Ooh, don't love that.
And that was true vernacular of the time, that you were worthy. God deemed you worthy to have this money. God deemed you the superior person because he let you be born in this family, in this lineage, in this whatever. And the poor people were vulgar because they had less manners. They loved
their children openly. Gross.
But no, their children were going to work at 9 and 10 years old. Like, they legit, you see people trying to get the mine owners to hire their kids to go down in a mine at 12 years old when the age limit's 14.
Yeah. And they would basically
they know kids are going to work.
Yeah, they basically use them as like, hey, if the kid survives going down, he men down.
Yeah, like, and it's a whole thing, but they literally, if you're poor, if you're stuck in that life and you can't, and you are vilified for trying to climb out of it. Yeah, George Warlegan went through so much ridicule, forgetting where he came from and who does he think he is. And you know what I mean?
I feel like Will and Alice definitely have not forgotten where they came from. And that is very much Will's struggle right now, is not forgetting where he comes from, but letting go of that need to provide. Sort of the opposite of what Agatha's husband did, where he was like, hey, I'm in this new title. I'm going to spend everything that I earned on my own in order to keep up this appearance. But then he was nothing without the mercy of the Queen, without that money. And I feel like Will and Alice are doing Will is doing the exact opposite. I need to keep up my own funds in case this is stripped away from us. I need something for us to be able to land back on. And if I give it up and then you take this away from us, which I feel like you're going to, because you're going to realize we don't fit into the Ton because we do not represent the Ton's values, you're going to take it away from us. So I need to protect my family. And that's this whole entire scenario is basically boils down to that. But I love that. I think it's really cute that Will and Alice give Kate an appreciative smile. Every parent who has ever attended an event with their kid knows how nice it is when your kid has someone nice and trusted to play with so that you can actually let your hair down a little. Like you don't want to just
And enjoy yourself.
yeah, and I say nice and trusted because if he was off with like let's pretend Cressida had a little brother, they'd be stressed. You know, Five has a little brother. We are stressed. We want to know where you are. We want to know what you're doing. But with Will, they're like, okay, this is a good kid. A cheeky kid. He might break an arm trying to look at a balloon, but like he'll come out like emotionally fine.
Well, and it's also you're walking into a household with where there's so many siblings. You now know, I mean, they know all the brothers, right?
Mhm.
They've met all the brothers and they know them to be good men. So they're going on the assumption that these three men are the example to Gregory.
Well, and they know
so
that if they have any interactions with anyone else in the Tom, that Gregory will be able to guide him in the ways of.
Yes.
So it's not like he's just with anyone. He is with someone who can guide him in a peer-to-peer, because we know that kids learn from each other. So this is a really good way for him to learn how to navigate the Tom with someone his own age. This is instead of learning from an adult who they're going to do things in a very, very proper way, this is like a peer-to-peer learning situation, which is great.
Yeah. Kind of like giving him a study buddy.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really liked that whole kind of interaction and how Kate navigated it. I think it shows just how emotionally into that she is. Eldest daughter.
And that she is Antony's perfect choice. Like
what
she is so worried about, the reason this party is small, when she got out of the bed and she goes, I have so much to do because I don't want Viscountess taken away. She proved her mettle. Like she was the right. Could you imagine Edwina doing this?
Edwina would be Rose in season 1 trying to figure out what Daphne wants for her wedding, and not Varley, Mrs. Wilson being like, you need to know these things like now, yesterday.
No, I think that if like Edwina's wedding would have gone through, I think Edwina would have gone super over the top like the Featherington.
Potentially, yeah.
Not even caring that Penelope wouldn't want that at all.
I think she
and that's another thing. Keeping the event small was for Penelope's sake too.
She would have studied everyone in the ton, but gotten to know them on a piece of paper and not who they actually are, and kind of been a little bit stiff with it,
Yeah. And she would have made everybody stressed out trying to be perfect, I think.
Yes. All good intentions, but just not the vibe. Okay, so let's move on to the Portia and Penelope portion. Portia and Penelope portion of the evening, of the party. Portia and Penelope portion of the party.
I actually have a new insight that I think it looks one way, but I think it's actually something.
Portia and Penelope arrive at the soiree, and the camera work here is quite interesting because the way that they have filmed this almost looks as if Penelope is entering alone. And I thought that's kind of a symbolism for the lack of kinship between her and her mum still, that they, like, Portia is trying to put on this perfect mama kind of air, but Penelope's not buying the act, and she still feels really isolated, both with her family and in that Bridgerton home. And it's not until like Colin approaches that she's like, this is my home. This is where I'm meant to be.
Okay. Here's my take. This is my insight I got that's different because I noticed the camera work also. They're focusing on Penelope's face. And what are her expressions? Wonderment, surprise. She's looking around. She almost has the look on her face like Sophie in the teaser looking at the chandelier, right? And like, she looks up at the chandelier.
Did this for me.
She is amazed. Like, this was all done for me. This was money spent for me. Effort put in for me.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And then her mother goes,
yes,
decorations are kind of drab, are not?
Reminds me of the dress.
I think because Colin specifically said, you will not say anything about my wife anymore. And we saw the look on Portia's face when Penelope left to go read, and she was like, forced smile, and then she went to resting, RBF, resting bitch face. She's wanting to seem supportive to maintain this connection with the Bridgertons, but she is still not happy for Penn yet. And in this moment, because it
doesn't serve her yet. She is literally only doing what she needs to serve herself.
For herself. And so I think this was a moment that she was able to kind of nag at Penelope without directly demeaning Penelope. She can make it look like she's demeaning the Bridgertons and their choice of decoration.
She knows deeper insight into that.
She knows Penelope is excited that all this was done for her. Portia is jealous that she knows all this was done for her, so she talks it down.
Portia, so I said, Portia, who is trying to get back in Penelope's good graces, is doing a stellar job of that by immediately putting down the decor of Bridgerton House. I actually think that this is Portia's self-defense of why do you love them more than us? So she is going to pick holes in their perfect family facade wherever she can because she knows that this is Penelope's chosen family. Penelope cannot wait to be out of that house, away from her family, doesn't want to share the engagement news. When her family does confront her about it, she's like, I don't want to be in your vicinity at all. I do not want to be in your orbit. Like, you are not good people. And I think Portia has definitely picked up that this is her chosen family. So she's going to sit there and, well, they're not that great. Look at how they decorate this house. We decorate happily in happy colors.
Well, and you bringing up the verbiage of them calling Kate sister and not sister-in-law plays into why I think she's jealous of Penn in this moment. And she's drawing the attention, like she's putting Penn down in a way where she's not putting Penn down directly. So
yes,
she can save face with Colin, but she's also showing her jealousy and drawing as much attention away from Penelope as often as she can and back onto herself.
Yeah.
Because when Colin walks across that floor with looks on his face that should not be in public.
Yes.
He's looking at his wife like he's not going to stop. He's just going to take her hand and keep going.
Well, the point...
Scandalous. If Will Sylvain had seen that face and was writing about herself these days.
I definitely have notes when we get there. So nobody else seemed to even notice when Penelope enters her own engagement party, with the exception of Colin. He knows exactly the second that the sun begins to shine down on him again, and when Penelope is in orbit. Like, it's like he has a beep, beep, beep,
Penelope Dar. Yep,
he knows
Penelope Dar.
Yeah, he's got a tracker on that girl. And he immediately approaches the ladies.
His iPhone went off and said, "You have a tracker here. You have an AirTag nearby."
Yeah.
He's got an AirTag.
He immediately approaches the ladies, and though I'm sure he is meant to acknowledge Portia first as Lady Featherington for now, instead he says, "My bride-to-be," and kisses her hand. Like, he definitely reads Portia as an afterthought, and it's very intentionally done as well. I don't think it's intentional, because I think the way he turned and he saw Penn and he looked at her the whole way he walked over was scandalous. And he took her hand and he's like, "My bride to be," and she's looking at him like, "You know what we did a few days ago?" And she's like, "Good evening." And Portia said, "And here's my son to be," and instantly Penelope's face is like, well, there it is. That's her trying to get her connection to the Bridgertons. And then Colin looks visibly annoyed. Yes.
That Portia's even present, that she even acknowledged and ruined their moment.
You are ruining our moment. Yes.
Yes.
So these two are so fun from incognito that you could practically smell the sexual tension radiating off of them. But once again, Portia is so oblivious and focused on kissing ass to notice as she butts into this overly familial interaction and says, "And here's my son to be."
And that's the thing, like, she's drawing attention away from Penelope, not from they're looking at each other. I don't think she clocked the sexual tension. That's what I said.
She's so oblivious to it because it doesn't serve what she needs in that moment. She focused.
She does not want Penelope to feel the love and attention.
No.
So she draws that away from her. And she's like, "My son to be," like she's any part of this union whatsoever.
And this is the wording that I use for that, to feed into exactly what you're saying. Colin pries his eyes away from Penelope to greet Portia in return by saying, "Lady Featherington, it is pleasant to receive such warm greeting from you." What a barb, Colin Bridgerton.
Like, he says, he sarcastically says warm to be like, that is not the word I would use.
That's why I said, what a barb, Colin Bridgerton. He is clearly still in self-defense mode and isn't letting her away with her nonsense. Portia does what Portia does and pinches her forehead before saying, "I deeply regret my..." Like, she knows, like, the exact terminology that he used in what
hers is all an act. This is all an act on Portia's part.
I deeply bitterly regret my earlier comment. Let us put it in the past. Tonight is to be a celebration of our collective future.
Our collective future.
Penelope looks actively ready to strangle her mother. Ironic.
Yes, I saw the best meme today, and I'm going to use it here. Look at my hands. It's making that, you know, the millennial heart, right? Because this is the Gen Z one.
It's
so
gross,
this is the millennial heart.
Yeah.
And I saw a meme today.
Whole heart. This, how do you, like, it's like trying to make crypt signals. Like, I don't know how to.
It's the fingers.
Like, I have, like, what the frick is that? Like, I can't even.
That's the Gen Z heart. But anyway, so I saw a meme with the millennial heart that says, this is not a millennial heart. This is how I'm holding my hands around your neck right now.
Strangle you with love.
And that's how Penn is looking at her mother like, oh my God, please do not embarrass me in front of my new family.
Okay, so I wrote, Penelope looks actively ready to strangle her mother. Super ironic that my phone autocorrected it to monster. Clearly, even my phone knows the plays that Portia is trying. And when she's being disingenuous, my phone is like, disingenuous, monster.
Yeah, it's all an act. And she does the same thing like she does at that garden party at the beginning where she's like, where's your mother? I must see her and tell her how much I love the decorations. Are the drinks nearby? Like she's got to go get a drink.
Yet again.
Because she's embarrassed.
Yet again, Portia is trying to downplay her part in something and sweep her bad behavior under the rug instead of ever giving in to the repercussions of her actions. It's like, she's like, well, I need you to come help me with Dundas and therefore you have to get over whatever I did or said. I'm not going to take responsibility for it. So you're just going to have to move on because you're the bigger person and I know it. So I'm going to play you and how you were raised against yourself right now.
Yeah, because Portia likes who she is as a human being. She likes who she is and she doesn't want to change. So she's going to force the person who would be the bigger person to be the bigger person. It's Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, she's always going to put the responsibility on others because she doesn't want to be socially. She's that person that's like, I am who I am, and you just got to accept it.
Colin, who I love, looks at Penelope first to check in on how do you want this to play out. He gives her the look of, are you going to accept this, or do you want me to
step in again? I will.
Petty Colin it up. Then replace.
Because I'll pull out the chaos. I know Chaos Colin is in there, and I will do it.
Oh yeah. Well,
because he comes out 2 minutes later.
Oh, he does. He does. Who then replies, well, if that is your intent, then it shall be mine to honor it. He's such a good sport for Penelope. Like, he will behave for her. But I love that he checks in like, I'll cut a bitch if you want me. I don't care if it's your mom.
But I love that he says, if that is your intent, because he knows he's lying through her teeth.
He's very intentional with his words. People want to play out like Colin is thick or whatever. Colin knows how to play you like a fiddle.
He's cunning. He is crafty.
Absolutely.
Daphne said so.
Yes. And Portia, ever the sneak, then says, oh, I must tell your mother how much I love what she has done with the decorations. This line gave me such Regina George from Mean Girl vibes. When she tells a girl that she loves her skirt and then turns to her friends and says, that's the ugliest skirt I've ever seen. Like,
right.
Portia is definitely Regina George and Penn is definitely the catty heron.
Yes. Well, and I just want to point out too, because I think you see throughout this whole engagement party how Portia tries to pull attention away from Penelope and onto her. Like she is like the monster-in-law, you know.
She is the monster-in-law.
But like I was just watching Nobody Wants This season 2 and there's an engagement party and she shows up in a white dress.
I'm not there. No.
I'm not saying whose it is.
No,
I'm just saying.
No. Cut. I have not gotten to that point. She is
Anyways, okay. You cannot show up to someone else's engagement party wearing white. And what is Portia wearing over her dress? A white shawl. She walks into an engagement party. She's the only person wearing anything white at all.
Portia, yeah, definitely. I don't think back then you wore white to your wedding. I don't know. It became popular with
white. Really started with
Elizabeth. Victoria. Elizabeth's mom.
But that's a visual for 2025 though. Nobody nobody in that ballroom, in that party, is wearing anything white, and she walks in a white shawl.
1840.
She's the only one wearing a freaking coat.
1840 is when the tradition of wearing white to a wedding became.
Yeah, she's the only one wearing any kind of coat, and it's white. That is a 2025 visual, so that we know she's trying to draw the attention to herself.
Portia then said, "Are there any drinks nearby?" As if the only way she's going to get through a night of saying anything nice to a Bridgerton is by being drunk.
Yes.
I did definitely kind of laugh at that one.
Well, and I think a lot, and Colin uses drinks too. Like when he doesn't want to say something or he wants to get out of saying something, he'll take a drink. So I think like everybody kind of used, I think we all have done it, like food or a drink. Like I'm going to fill my mouth so I can't say what I want to say right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, so Colin immediately turns back to Penelope. I notices that she is solemnly watching Eloise and Cressida together. And I actually love Cressida's outfit today. The shimmering pink and purple reminds me of the transformation that Princess Ordetta goes through in Swan Princess, another princess who was caged and determined to set herself free, which is rather ironic because considering what she's about to pull in exactly that honor. So Ordetta even has like these big puffy sleeves on her dress, and it's kind of like this white with green. So it's not the coloring, but it's the transformation that goes from when she's going between a swan is exactly that pink and purple that Cressida is wearing. So it's the same shape, and then it's the same colors as you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm trying to, I haven't.
The Swan Princess, the girl that gets transformed into a swan.
Yeah.
And at nighttime becomes
I've seen it.
again.
I'm just trying to, well, and I always notice like when Cressida is the most dysregulated, when she's got the most going on, she's got the most worries going on. She is in her tradition, like, because she's a pink girl, she wears pink a lot, but her pink is mixed with usually a darker color.
Well, today it's purple, and purple was meant for morning,
and as it lightens up, like we've seen with Violet, you know, you're in your debutante era again, and it's romance, because Penn is wearing lavender. She is wearing a purplish color, a lilac color in her dress, and she's in her romance era. She's been, you know, bedded and breaded. She just hasn't been wedded yet.
I do kind of wonder whether this is the show people showing us so wordy today, Taj. I wonder whether this is the props people showing us that this is Cressida realizing maybe I don't want to just marry for money like I initially thought. Maybe I do want something of more substance.
I can see that. Because in the past, she was okay with marrying for security and finding a husband the way her parents taught her, because she was choosing, like walking up to Colin in season 1, that dance, trying to get with the prince. Like she was choosing people her age, handsome, friendly, kind. Like Colin was kind, Friedrich was kind. Jack wasn't, but he was acting kind toward her.
Yes,
he was appearing kind. So she was looking for the same things Penn was, but she had more of a choice, and she was choosing somebody closer to her age. And now she's seeing what her parents actually meant by marrying for security, because they're willing to put anyone in that place.
Yes.
And she's like realizing what that truly, truly means.
I mean, not Granville,
Weatherby.
Thank you. He would be a good option for her.
Yeah, she doesn't even know. I don't even think she knows how to love or to receive love. And I hope if they do keep Jessica Madsen in the show and they do keep Cressida going, and they're trying to give her an arc to humanize her.
I don't think they could get rid of that.
They need to have her go through that period of time where she's not accepting the love of a good match in a healthy way, because she's never been.
I can now kind of understand why they were getting rid of the Feathering Sisters, because they're basically going to be replacing them with the exact same matches in Araminta's two daughters. Like, I don't love it, but I can see why they're like, hey, there's no point having two of the same characters. We're just paying twice the amount for characters to do the same thing.
Right.
Which is exactly why R.I.P. Felicity did not make it in show.
Well, they needed Penn to be the youngest.
Yeah.
They purposely wanted Penn to be the baby and to not be babied. I think that was the whole play.
So this is when Colin states that Eloise mentioned that Miss Cowper invited herself. I love how defensive that he sounds of her, because he's one of the very few people of the ton who actually knows exactly what Cressida has put Penelope through in her life. Maybe not like 100% the full extent of it, but I would say a large majority. The only two people that really know what she's been put through is Eloise and Colin. And one of those two people is right there supporting Cressida in that moment. Well, not supporting, shall I say.
No, and if you look at Eloise in this moment, she is very nervous. She is nervous for when Penn walks in and sees Cressida there. She is going from foot to foot. She can't stay still.
Yeah.
She knows it's a faux pas for Cressida to be there, and she knows it's like a stab in
But
Penelope's
she did
heart.
not know how to not invite Cressida and still keep in good standing with her. She is stuck between the I made this friendship thing and I wanted to punish
good
you.
Breeding. Yeah. She's stuck between good breeding and being a good friend, family. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's kind of, stuck between a rock and a hard place in this one. She put herself there. Point.
Well, and Colin says it too. He's like, I didn't know how to say no.
Yes. He follows up by saying, I did not think I could say no, considering. And I do wonder what he means by that, whether it is considering it is also her house and her friend, or considering you two are in a fight and I'm trying to make it better with her, or all of the above.
I think it's considering everybody gets to bring a +1 because Benedict brought. If Eloise chose Cressida as her guest, he couldn't say no.
The considering felt like it was more loaded than that, though. It felt more considering you two are fighting and she couldn't bring you. That's kind of what it felt like he was saying.
Well, I have my own theories, which, in the next few things he says that are full circle moments. So I think the considering plays into that. So please continue.
So Penelope says Penelope, as always, has to rise above and say it is all right. Although Colin says good, he follows up with, I rather relish her presence so that she can watch you in your triumph. And I sort of chuckle at that line because it seems a little presumptuous of him to consider himself a triumph. And I do hope it is more in the line of that you are getting to marry while she is spinster, or you found your true love while she is still yet to be married. Regardless, Penelope looks at him with love in the world because he knows exactly what to say to make her feel better in that moment.
Yes, and now this is my thing. So he says, I rather relish her presence so she can watch her triumph. First of all, that's a book line. It was said by Colin to Eloise, and Eloise repeats it in the book at the engagement party because Penn is upset that Cressida's there. And Eloise says, well, Colin says he wanted her here so that she would have to watch you in your triumph, which made Penelope's day in the book. But I also think that Colin agreed for her to be there or allowed her to be there for two other reasons. And I think the reason it works that he says this is for these two other reasons. One, it acknowledges the full circle moment from the ball in season 1 where he chose Penelope over Cressida.
Yes.
Cressida made an aggressive, overhanded play for Colin while he was in an interaction with Penelope, and he chose Penelope in that moment, and he wants Cressida to now see that was real. I chose her. I choose her now. Like it's the same person. So it's a full circle moment. He chose her to dance, and now he's chosen her to be his wife. And then the second thing is at the beginning of season 3, we saw in the background when she's standing talking to Debling, Colin's in the back up on that landing looking back. He's talking to the two lords, but he keeps looking back where Penelope is. So I think like he watched the interaction with Cressida. He couldn't do anything about it. He was too far away. And then he sees her sweep past him and she's upset. And he couldn't fix that moment. So this is a way for him to fix that moment because he knows that Cressida once again cut her down. And now she has to spend time. This is why I said Chaos Colin in his karmic delight. Because to him, this is karma for Cressida. She has taken so much from Penelope, disrespected her, humiliated her, stolen her best, and now she has to walk around and make nice at a party where Penelope is supposed to get the attention. She doesn't because everybody's a chaotic mess. But this is a party that's in Penelope's honor.
Yeah. And I think it's very much of, and this plays into what Lady Danbury says next. Penelope had to be herself in order to find a husband. Cressida has always tried to be her mother to find a husband, and look where that has gotten her.
I don't think Cressida even knows who she even is.
No, because she's always done what her mother has told her to, and she has not been herself.
She's like a paper doll. Yeah, her mother dresses her. Her mother gets her hair done. She's a fashion plate. And she's put at a ball, and because she's pretty, she's supposed to just get a guy, and she can't because they didn't develop a personality. They didn't develop accomplishments. They didn't teach her how to write, read, paint tables, play music. She can't do any of that stuff. She's not interested.
No. And I think that her friendship with Eloise is the first time that she has ever truly felt like she is getting to know herself. Like, I think that her friendship with Eloise isn't self-serving. And that's exactly the great thing about it is she's like, wow, like it actually feels good to get to know someone else and to get to allow them to get to know who I am, not who my mother wants me to be.
Right. She hasn't had a friend in so long. She forgot how much you learn about yourself when you have a friend. Yeah.
I do not think she's ever
No,
had
she
a
said
friend.
she did before she entered society.
Yeah.
Her and Daphne were friends before they entered society because they said so in season 1.
Friends or friendly,
it becomes
two different things.
True. But anyways, I got to say this if we're going to the Lady Danbury and Violet thing, which I've already posted this. I made a post of this in our Facebook group, but I have to say it now because the way I wrote it. I said, Lady Danbury and Violet have sprinted up the stairs to be on the second landing so that they could talk about the couple because we watched Colin walk away from Lady Danbury and Violet in the ballroom, on the ballroom floor to walk towards Penelope. So in this interaction, they had to have pushed through that crowd, ran up the stairs, ran to the other end of the landing.
I reckon they got their own signals, like their little bat signals, like gossip, 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 time, let's go.
Yeah. They were like, or maybe they wanted to go refresh themselves, but then they still would have had a potty break. How did they get up there so fast?
Time to go talk shit about the ton. Let's go. I would 100% want to beat those two at a party.
For sure. Like if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, come sit next to me, right? Although I'm not that kind of judgy person, but I like to people watch at a party, and I like to have somebody I can chat with while I'm people watching.
I love people watching, not judging. Like I went to Hamner swimming pool, like, I don't know, 2 months ago or something. And there was a, I was gonna say Filipino girl there. And as part of her swim costume, there was a collar. And the second that they got out of the pool, like some of the young boys like start barking, and they said, "Oh, it takes all kinds," and well, that's a real kink to show that out in public, and all the comments. And I'm like, I was just looking at like, oh, that's sparkly. Like those sparkles are gonna rust in the water. Like two wildly different thoughts going on here.
Well, I mean, and I will say, like, I'll say something like that was an unfortunate choice to make. Like I always think it's an unfortunate choice for a brunette to wear a white swimsuit if they don't landscape, you know? So I would say something like that was an unfortunate kind of thing. I'm definitely not Portia on the sideline, but I think Danbury and Violet are very much like they talk about everybody, not necessarily negatively, as we see here with Penelope, this is the difference of every other ball in every other season of every other time.
I think they're up there like sussing out their next targets for like who we're going to match make next.
But I mean, this is the nicest when we think of women on a landing looking down on a ballroom. That's a mirror from season 1 when Colin goes to try and dance with Marina, and the snarky ladies are up on the landing talking about everyone, right? And I think that plays into what they say because she says, anyone who questions their match is a fool. And it's like, why would she say that?
Well, so for starters, she says, anyone who questions the match is a fool. And all she had to do to get him to marry her was to be herself. Like, as I said earlier, a jab at Cressida. Firstly, this feels like a complete nod to the book connection between Lady Danbury and Penelope. That the whole book, Lady Danbury was encouraging Penelope to come out of her shell and let herself shine as the brilliant and witty person that she is, to let others see it too. And those qualities are exactly what Colin fell in love with. Secondly, I love that Lady Danbury is essentially the opposite of what Portia and Penelope's sisters are. That she doesn't accuse Penelope of anything untowards, no jokes about entrapment. She simply sees Penelope's value and knows exactly why Colin has chosen her and him in return. She sees how wonderful both of these characters are and how overlooked they have both been in the ton, and thinks this is a perfect match.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like when she says anyone who questions their match is a fool, she is saying that because she obviously knows that there are people that have questioned their match, i.e. Portia. Both the girls say the only way she could have gotten Colin was to entrap him somehow, put a spell on him. He would not want her any other way. And we know that Antony in season 1, even though he considers Penelope family, he says so in season 2, he downplays Daphne dancing with Simon twice as meaning any kind of connection when it is legitimately part of etiquette. You don't dance with someone twice unless you have intentions, by using Colin and Penelope as an example, because he cannot fathom a Bridgerton being with a Featherington. I don't think it has to do with Penelope at all. I think it in season 1 especially, because I think it's like it's that typical like wrong side of the tracks kind of, you know, this family is from the affluent part of town, this family's from the other side of the tracks, right? A Bridgerton would not be with the Feathering because the Featheringtons are not of our ilk, kind of thing. That's Antony's whole vibe in season 1. So I think that Danbury is acknowledging this. Like, how did people not see this until now, right? And yeah, for once we get to hear somebody say Penelope got Colin to fall in love with her just being herself. She did not have to do all of these wiles that other women have to do to hook a man. You typing like that makes my eye hurt.
Okay, sorry. I absolutely love that Violet follows up that Penelope is an extraordinary young. I love that Violet is just so proud that she gets to be like that she's going to be her daughter and that she is so sweet. Like, especially after the Marina situation of, I think she knew that Marina was disingenuous and she's like, this is my most genuine son. Well, maybe not this season. Pirate Colin was a bit, but again, she knew that was armor. Like, Colin is the most sensitive of her children, as she said. And for someone like Marina, who's just going to take advantage of her, like, I'm sure I'm sure Violet love when the Lady Whistledown scandal comes out, finds out that it's Penelope, but I think that she can send how, what, and why it came from. Like, she's empathetic
But I
enough.
think it went as fast as Colin said it did because of this line, because she says she's an extraordinary woman. I think it literally was like when she says, Colin, I received a letter from your wife, and she's angry at first. I think it really was that quick. Like, as she pieced it through, she was like, man, that girl, is there nothing she can't do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the two women are having a merry old time until Lord Anderson turns up and
out of nowhere,
and Lady poof, and I appear.
How did he get up on the landing without Danbury seeing him?
Apparition.
Patty Cannon, in my head, I think he was there early. I think Violet shoved him in the drawing room and says, wait here, I'll bring you out when it's safe, when I finally told Lady Danbury I invited you. Because he got tired of waiting.
I don't think so, because I think it was actually in this moment that she realizes just how strained the relationship. So Lady D,
but he comes out of nowhere. How did he get on the second landing without Danbury notice?
Lady Danbury's demeanor instantly switches to cold when she says to her brother that she did not think that he was coming tonight. Violet, like a little schoolgirl, says they ran into each other while promenading the other day. I love that he claims it to be a happy coincidence, as if he weren't actively searching for her. And both of them seem to be aware of it too, because they have somewhat gleeful looks on their faces. While Agatha looks like she could bury him alive with her bare hands. Mm-hmm. And this is when Violet, finally picking up on the on the vibe, awkwardly says, I invited him, whilst looking away, clearly noticing that she has upset her friend. And Agatha says, I see, and toasts to the happy couple, though she's clearly anything but. She now realizes... I mean,
that's double entendre, because she's kind of talking about that.
Yes, she now clearly realizes that there is some sort of budding relationship between her brother and best friend, and is anything but happy about it.
I still want to know how he got that.
The magic of editing.
I can't... Well, and not magic. Like, they did use... I'm assuming newer editors, like, because there was an interview, I think it was Jess Brownell talking about being the showrunner, how, you know, and Shonda Rhimes likes to help people get their start. Like, and so I just felt like some parts of the season, like this one, were either hastily done and nobody, because there's not continuity people necessarily, as many as there used to be, this was missed. Like, how did Violet and Lady Danbury get upstairs so quickly? Where did how did he even enter the party, let alone not be seen by Danbury, who was in the main part of the ballroom and now on the landing, seeing the whole lay of the land?
Yeah.
Like, how did she not notice him up until this? Like, for me, he had to have been hiding in another room. Like, I can't, like, he got there before her, and then I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the kind of little things that, when they don't work, for me, kind of takes away from the story, because it makes that part unbelievable.
Just gonna check how much longer I have. I've written all of these notes and more, and there's still 17 minutes left of this episode, of this one event. Actually going to be a full-parter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it really does jump between so many people.
There's so much going on, and I think I like it in the way that it's so chaotic. There's so much going on with everyone. It's not just Penelope and Eloise's chaos. It's kind of like, seriously, it's one of those, like, it reminds me of the rom-coms that are like Can't Hardly Wait. Do you remember that one where they go to that party, all the seniors? It's like their last party of the year, but there's all these little stories. Or like Valentine's Day,
or he's just not that into you, where it's all these different stories and how they all intertwine.
Yeah, like Love Actually, how there's all these different stories, and how they, like, once they're all in the same, like in Love Actually, once we get to the Christmas play, the Nativity that has a lobster in it, like all of these stories culminate in that moment at that event. There's all these different stories all are in the same room. And this reminds me of that, because you have Fran and John trying to impress Anthony. Penelope hasn't told Colin that he's Whistledown. Colin and Penelope have now slept together, and they have to pretend like they do not know each other's bodies. And that's really hard to do after you've slept with someone. It's hard to, especially as close as she practically was sitting on his lap, gripping his hand when they're doing charades later. But you have the Mondricks and their whole situation of introducing Nikki to the ton. You have Gregory and Hyacinth wanting to play with the grown-ups. You have Violet
trying to avoid.
Cressida not only trying to avoid, but also knowing she has created the biggest faux pas there is. She invited herself. She was not invited, but she showed up anyway, expecting, because of her friendship, not to be turned away. And then expecting Eloise, who is to be the future sister of the bride and is the sister of the groom, to fully give her 100% attention the entire party. Mm-hmm. And then there's Eloise wanting Penelope to tell Colin about Whistledown. And there's Kate trying to have the best ball ever. And Benedict brings Lady Tilly, who is obviously older than him. And this is their hard launch
and
on society. And she's a widow. Like, there's so much going on in this party. Like, it's not Penelope's party. It's just not.
I'll dance if I want to.
I think that would have been the best thing. Like, if Colin gave his speech and then everything went the way it did, and he just walked over, regardless of everybody else going up to the drawing room, if he just took her to the middle of the floor and started dancing with her there, that would have been amazing to me, because he would have been reminding everyone that this is solely about her. Like, this is her night. She doesn't get anything in this whole season, except she gets to publicly come out as Whistledown and not get her head cut off.
Yeah.
And just to remind people of the kind of crap that this very monarch did to people, because Poldark is also puts a lot of history and historical fact into things. There is a gentleman that was tried for treason, sedition, and was ordered to hang, not to the death. He would be taken down before he died. His bowels would be removed from his body, burned in front of his face, and then he would be quartered, tied to 4 horses, and they would run in 4 different directions.
There's not many things that make me feel sick when I'm eating, but there's definitely one of them, Patty.
Sorry, but that is a punishment that this very queen and her king, the Mad King George, put on people at that time. So this is a very soft queen that we see in Bridgerton but this is what people are afraid of happening. This is what makes the stakes so high for why Penelope doesn't want to be found out as Whistledown. That's the kind of torturous punishment people went.
All right, let's talk about Cressida and Eloise now that I want to get that image out of my mind so badly. Cressida is telling Eloise just how awful Lord Greer is. Everything that she had hoped for their marriage to get her through life has now been away, and she is realizing the dark and dreary cage that it will be. There will be no shopping trips. There will be no lavish gowns. There will be no lavish events that she gets to go to. It'll just be her and their 4
sitting at home.
Their 4 kids see him.
It'll be her, and she has to conceive them first. And he's old. And I'm not saying that in a way of like, just because he's old. I mean, it could take
He's
a lot
old.
longer for them to get pregnant because he's old.
Yep.
His potency, his motility of his seed is not going to be as
You have a
healthy
what
as
1 in 30 chance of having a Down child having that age, I think. And they're now finding that actually the uterus oh my lord, I know
scrotum.
no, the sac in which your baby lives in. My brain
I don't
has
know.
just gone. Placenta. The placenta is actually created from the male, and all the issues with it is from the male.
Well, I
All
just
the
saw
things that we've blamed women for in history, men.
they've been doing studies and they found that like this whole thing about women aging and drying up and all that stuff is really men. I mean, women's eggs, they're learning women's eggs actually hold their integrity from puberty until menopause a lot better than a man's sperm holds its integrity throughout his whole life.
So Cressida is saying how she's been thinking of ways to avoid the proposal and asks Eloise for help, whom isn't even listening to her. Like
typical Eloise.
Like she's not even listening to her friends. Very real life problem. She's too focused on glaring at Penelope and Colin being happy and in love together. Eloise offhandedly agrees, but barely takes note or appears to care what Cressida is saying at all.
Yeah, she's not paying attention. I don't think she's watching Colin and Penn be happy and being mad about that so much as she knows that because Colin acting happy means he doesn't.
No,
so Penn hasn't been honest yet.
I said, I think that this is the first time that Eloise is seeing Penelope and Colin together since the engagement and is only now realizing the way that they look at each other and probably feels even more betrayed and stupid for not seeing it earlier. Cressida definitely looks hurt at being brushed aside.
That right there. Eloise doesn't like to feel stupid. Yeah.
Yes, because she's like, oh, it was there the entire time. I just didn't notice exactly what she now doing to Cressida.
Yeah, because now that it's kind of like something that's always there, but it gets called out, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that has always been there. Like, she has seen how they looked at each other, like in season 2 at the wedding. And she's like, don't encourage him, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's a witness to it. She's been a witness to it. And now she's seeing it where
she just didn't see what she was seeing.
Yeah. And she's like,
So I do also think it is what you were saying about he has not told her. Sorry, she has not told him. But I think it is also the understanding of,
they really do love
that
each
was
other.
there the whole time. And I just realized it. But literally, Eloise is now doing exactly to Cressida what she'd done to Penelope. Not paying attention.
Yep. Eloise thinks a certain way and she thinks that everybody should think the way she thinks. So if she's focused on Colin and Penelope and the fact that Penelope hasn't told Colin anything and she's really just wallowing in her own humiliation at once again, like she was humiliated when she found out that Penelope was Whistledown because she searched for an entire year and didn't find who she was. And she was right in front of her face the whole time.
Yes.
And now she's...
And the thing is, she should have had the most inside knowledge and picked up on it because it's her best friend. So she should have noticed better than anyone. But she is she's so self-involved that she couldn't even see what was literally right there in front of her.
Yeah. So this is where we see like Eloise can be a good friend to Penn. She's been a good friend to Penn in moments of distress, but only when Penelope is so distressed that it's incredibly obvious. Because right now, Cressida just sounds like she's complaining. She's not visibly distressed. She's not crying. And I think that plays into, as we have said, that Colin's ADHD and Eloise is ADHD and Fran is autistic. This is the ADHD. This is the autism side of it. Not being able to understand somebody's going through something distressing unless it's obvious on their face. And the face charts, at the hospital and stuff for your
my son asks me all the
pain
time,
levels.
Why is your face downturned? And I'm like, why is mommy unhappy? And I'm like, I'm not unhappy. I'm cleaning. I'm focused.
Yeah. And people all the time to me would say, at the bank when I'd be looking at their account and I'm like this down looking with the mouse, like trying to look at different numbers and calculate things and whatever. They're like, oh, if I have to go by your face, it's nothing good. And I'm like, sorry, that's just my focused face, like because my RBF is so strong. I just look mad all the time. But, people with autism also struggle with understanding nuance between and I'll say this, like I know my son struggled with this. I think Smaug has struggled with this with me, like especially on the cruise. I think he did not understand. Like he brings me an entire breakfast of everything I'd eaten the day before, and it struck me as like the sweetest thing ever, and it brings tears to my eyes. And he's like
What's wrong with
awkward, like
you?
I made you cry. This was not good. Like he thought he did something wrong. And my
Die.
son,
She's like, no, why are you crying?
that's the thing. Like
Welcome
for
to
some people,
Patty World.
like any emotion in there is coming out my eyes. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And my son was the same way after I split with my husband and I went through that grieving period. I had to explain to my son all the time, like this, my tears are not, you did nothing to cause. This is just me processing some feelings that had to do with something else. Like I had to explain myself all the time to him because as soon as he saw me crying, even if it's a good cry, even if I got like a good gift or somebody said something nice and I didn't know how to take it and tears came to my eyes, he questioned it. Like, I'm like, no, I'm happy. Well, then why are you crying? Because all of my emotions leak out of my eyes. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and I think that for Eloise, you have to have snot running down your face and tears flowing out of your eyes. And you're crying so hard you can barely speak, like Penn was in season 1 when she wrote about Marina. For Eloise to even clock that you are upset.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to exactly Eloise upsetting someone else. Eloise then approaches Penelope and says, either my brother...
Wait. We gotta... Are we going to skip the whole... Oh, no, he hasn't come back yet. Okay, so he goes to the drink table. He asks. We got to say that because of what
he's
we
getting
talked
refreshment. Eloise then approaches Penelope and says, either my brother is the most understanding person ever born, or you have not yet told him. Penelope states...
P.S. Do you realize this is the first time that a gentleman has gone to get Penelope a refreshment? Because even at the one ball... He got it for Cressida
and then gave it to her.
He had gotten it for Cressida and then gave it to her. This is the first time she knows when he's walking away. This is the first time a gentleman is getting her a refreshment ever since she debuted. And then, of course, Eloise has to rent.
Penelope states that she's waiting for the right time. Penelope, that time would have been before the engagement party. Like, Colin barely walked away from the Marina scandal unscathed, but to go all the way through an engagement party where the Ton have acknowledged the engagement and then break it off, I feel like Penn did somewhat entrap him by letting the engagement get that far without telling him. Like, I do actually somewhat agree with Eloise that he should have known.
I agree he should have known, but I understand her struggle with doing it because here she was getting everything she'd ever wanted, and she 110% believed that the minute she told him she was Whistledown, she was going to lose forever.
And I think that Penelope
because she believes she doesn't deserve good things.
Penelope comes from such a toxic household where you do not dob yourself in because, like, you're already in trouble for a myriad of things at any given time, and you're already in trouble for things that you didn't even do, but your mum is going to blame on you anyway. Why would you then add to that pile by actually letting people know when you have done something wrong? I think that she does not know she's never been taught how to confront things that she has done and take accountability for them because her mum has not, and her dad certainly has not. That is true too.
But I think that Penn has held herself accountable in other situations. So I do think she knows how to take accountability. I think she's been around the Bridgertons enough for that. But the stakes are way too high here because she does not see any other outcome. Then Colin shoves her off. Like, yeah, he does not choose her when he finds out she's Whistledown. And because she can't see any other outcome, she can't see him forgiving her. She can't see him being happy about it and getting through that part, that she's now put it off. This is your typical, this is in every kind of romance movie where something needs to be said and then it doesn't get said when it should, and then it goes way too long. And the Whistledown thing, I think, went way too long. I personally, and we've talked about this before, coming into season 3, and especially after watching the first half, I 100% believe or felt like Colin knew she was down. Like that he was just going to be like, oh, I've known for some, because it was so obvious she was. Like, how could smart people not see it? I don't understand how Violet didn't see it. I don't understand how Daphne and Simon didn't see it in season 1. Like, there's enough clues that should have told everybody it was her, and it would have made it so much better if they were going to change Whistledown reveal to be after the engagement. then Colin should have known about it. I knew it was you. Here's why. But then we wouldn't have, I mean, they made this season just way too much. There's too much going on with everyone.
Yeah.
High stakes. It's too much high stakes all the time.
We just want some happy love, Dara, okay?
Or just have not so many people have so many problems that you have to give them all enough time to get through those problems would be great.
Yeah.
Why does every single couple or friend group this season have to have some sort of problem?
Patty, did you want to fill our lovely people in on what you have found on IMDb in regards to Colin and Penelope?
Well, I think we talked about it in the Bridgerton last pod, maybe. I don't know. But and I didn't find it. I saw somebody else bring it up and I went and checked. And Luke Newton is only on IMDb in episode 1. And we know that he was not potentially in later episodes because he was not part of that It's a Wrap video. Yeah. So he was, when they decided to make an It's a Wrap video with somebody else having their last day of filming, he was not included.
I have new fan theories. I think they're
Colin and Penelope?
Yeah, for season 4. I think they're going to do exactly what Kate and Anthony have done and are going to say Colin and Penelope have left the estate in Lady Feathering's hands and have gone to travel the world so that Colin continue to write more travel journals to publish, and that is why they are not on screen.
I agree. I think that that was my thought too, because Nicola Coughlan is only in 2 episodes, which is the first episode and the 4th episode, but we also know that they are splitting the season. So while Julia Quinn is out there and has said she has seen all 8 episodes, it is possible they still have time to change the second half based on the reaction of the first half, because I think some of that happened with season 3. I think they aired the first 4 episodes and then they made a few editing changes, not filming. They didn't reshoot anything between them two, but they did a few editing changes.
I think that they shoot a few potential endings and can edit them based on what they need.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think that somewhere after the 4th episode, they are going to travel. Personally, with what I know about what's her name, Mosley, who is Michaela. Her first name's Mosley. I can't think of her last name. She is only IMDb'd for episode 1 and episode 8.
Okay.
So I think that we're going to see Lord John pass away, or they're going to get news of it towards the end of the season. And potentially, because we know Colin goes to Scotland in Francesca's. Yeah. So I think he and Penelope now go to Scotland, and they, the whole traveling with my wife, like you had talked about them going into Scotland and stuff and doing that journal. That's going to play into it, that they're going to leave and they're going to see, not collect Eloise. She's already back, unless she goes back with her.
No. I mean,
after the masquerade.
No. I meant to go actually support
Francesca
after her husband dies.
Yeah, I think they rushed there. I think that. Or I think they were already heading there to visit.
Or they chaperone Eloise to go there because she is the chosen.
Yeah.
Because Eloise is not allowed to travel.
Correct. I mean, I see that. I see them doing travel stuff because we know from the books that Colin ends up writing something like 4 or 5. He does an Englishman in Scotland. He does an Englishman in Italy, I think. But they said there's like in the epilogue, in the second epilogue for Daphne's, Colin and Penn come to Daphne and Simon because their one child has speech issues.
Speech impediment, yeah.
And they want to talk to them about it. And I think they mention it there. He's just had another whatever, his 5th.
Yeah. Okay. That was a big tangent. Now I've got to figure out where we're up to. Eloise says that the information does not only concern you, this secret, this lie with the Queen reward is bound to come out, and when it does, Colin is bound to know that I kept it from him as well. Good old Eloise sure has a knack for bringing it back to being about her when it's got nothing to do with her. Like this whole thing.
And this is why when you are raised with narcissists, you end up being friends with very selfish people. I don't want to call Eloise a narcissist because when she gets called out, she realizes what she does and she does attempt to make change.
Yes.
Where Portia does not. I think Portia's on a good arc. Yeah. Portia's learning. She's been a narcissist for a heck of a lot longer than Eloise. It takes a lot longer to learn from it. But
this is definitely
when you are raised by selfish
people, Eloise.
Yeah, you're raised by selfish people. You tend to befriend selfish people. It's what you're comfortable with. It's what you know. Penelope does not Well, Penelope doesn't know what she deserves. Like, I mean, I tell you guys all the time, I'm always like apologizing for my big feels. And then like, I just, when your feelings were not important growing up, it's hard to allow them space even in a safe space sometimes. So Penelope, I want to see that in season 4. I think I saw a Reddit today where people were talking about what do we want to see with Colin and Penn in season 4? And I'm sorry
I want to see Penelope setting up to even a Bridgerton, because that is like the epitome of growth right there.
Yes, but one person worded it the best, and I'm sorry if you happen to listen to our pod, because I have advertised our pod on Reddit. If you happen to listen to our pod and this is your comment, please let us know so that I can give you credit, because I don't have time to look it up right now. But somebody said this. They said, I want Colin to now have so much purpose. He doesn't know what to do with it all. And I want Penelope to have so much attention that she doesn't know how to handle it. So where they had none, where they both had none, they are now
in abundance,
abundant with it. And we get to, because you get to see the other side of the coin. Like, I personally would think Antony would be like, it's not as fun as you thought it would be, is it now, bud?
Yeah. Yes. So,
and I think that's why they leave. I think Penn has way too much attention that she can't even handle it. And she's like,
although I do agree with Eloise that he should know, Eloise's motivations here seem to be mostly focused on how this is going to affect her, and does not consider exactly how much it would hurt Colin to know the truth. Sort of like when people apologize, not because the other person needs it or wants it, but to absolve themselves of guilt. That's sort of what this feels like.
But she also doesn't admit that she says Colin believes he's in love with you in episode 6, when she goes to Penn's house to tell her not to say she's whistled out.
Yes.
So I don't even think she's acknowledging, even though she sees it, she's not acknowledging that what Colin is feeling is actual love, because she believes you have to fully know a person to be able to love them. So she's able to tell herself that what she's seeing is not the truth. And that's because of how she thinks.
That's sort of how Francesca's arc plays into this, is love is not what you think it looks like. It is what the person feeling it looks like to them. And it is no one else's business if that version of love suits them or not. Like, it is for that person and that person only to decide. And then Eloise then goes on to say, you have till midnight, which really sold for me the whole Cinderella connection yet again. Sort of strange how they've played it out like that this season, given that Benofi's season is meant to be the Cinderella retelling. Like, you have till midnight, Penelope runs off with a glass slipper. Like, it just feels like that vibe.
Yeah, but I think they were trying to revamp the books. They were trying to be more based on the Bridgerton books and not actual adaptations. There's a difference between based on and an adaptation. You know what I mean? An adaptation kind of is close to the book. Based on, it's kind of like Pride and Prejudice have so many iterations out there. You have so many adaptations.
Oh, we have a new one coming out and it looks fantastic.
Yes, Netflix is doing it. Yes.
So looking forward to that.
We also have what are called based on the novel Pride and Prejudice, like your Hallmark Christmas movie. There's a Hallmark Christmas movie that I love that is flat out the Bennett, like her last name is Bennett, and it's a play on Pride and Prejudice. I think Bridgerton was trying to go that route. Like, it's going to be Bridgerton, but not. We're Regency fantasy.
I actually really enjoyed the Bollywood version.
Like it.
I liked the Bollywood version, the Bride and Prejudice.
I love it. Hey, Mr. Coley.
Yeah, it was a fantastic
without
version.
Wife. I love that song.
Yeah,
that's the best. I love that movie. Yeah, and actually the lead guy, the Mr. Darcy in that is the lead guy in Virgin River on Netflix.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he really isn't that great. He really isn't that great of an actor in Bride and Prejudice. Like
this is a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a young guy and he just did but he's amazing in Virgin River. Like, I love his character in Virgin River.
Australian?
I think so. I think possibly. Why don't you look that up? We'll take a pause. I'm going to let the dogs out.
Sorry for that brief intermittence. Doggies need a doggy. Cullen then
and then I had to I had to remind my dog that he's a dog and he's not a human that's allowed to eat in my chair.
Colin then brings Penelope refreshments, and I love so much how instantly that he picked up that something was weighing on Penelope. For those who doubt how long he has loved her, just look how attuned he is, even to the smallest of shifts in her demeanor. He knows Penelope better than even Eloise because he has been paying attention to her for so many years, while Eloise was too self-involved to pick up on Penelope's nuances.
Yes.
What a bob!
And he knows how babies are to be made when you're not married, because he
Yes.
brings 2 drinks. He brings a wine that he keeps for himself, and he hands her a lemonade.
Yes.
And although it was not a thing in the 1800s of knowing that alcohol affects a baby, we know that it's Bridgerton canon because of Queen Charlotte. When she announces her second pregnancy to George, it's because he's trying to get someone to have revelry with him and drink with him, but Reynolds will not. And then she turns down the drink. So, and she tells him she can't because with child.
Yes.
So we know Colin handing her a lemonade is the first Easter eggy clue we have.
Easter egg, yes.
That she is pregnant.
Or Bridgerton egging. Okay, so this is when the dramatic ticking begins, playing as Penelope spies the clock on the mantle, mocking her as it passes 8 p.m. So Eloise is given her till after to midnight. So that gives her 4 hours. These parties are long. Like 4 hours into a party, I'm so done with you people. Like no matter how much I like people, 4 hours, I am done. Well, and not even because I'm tired.
Let's go back. Let's go back to all the naysayers when we were in the Bridgerton groups talking about the timing of parties and how we knew that. I mean, the biggest way that the Ton should have known that Penelope was Whistledown, or at least the Bridgerton, was that the news of the engagement was in the Whistledown the next morning when he didn't even ask her until what probably was 2 a.m.
Yes.
Between 1 and 2 a.m. because parties go till past midnight. And we know that was the last dance because she said the ball was wrapping up. And then you don't just announce something and then you leave immediately.
Yeah.
They would have had a toast. They would have talked for a few minutes as a family. She didn't even get to her house till probably 2:30. And then she had to write the whistle down and she had to take it to the printers.
Exactly.
There's no way. Or they would have suspected. They would have suspected their own servants because in the Gilded Age, which of course is, late 1800s, but still they knew that somebody within their household was feeding gossip to the scandal sheets.
Yes.
They were trying to figure out who it was. So we would have seen the Bridgertons doing the same thing. They should have known it was Penn. I don't see how they didn't, because we now know this party is going to go well past midnight.
Yeah. Yeah. So the timings of it all is just,
personally, there's enough context, for those of us who look at the details, there's context that can give us insight into timing of events, because when you have a TV show and it's edited and it's meant to look a certain way, you have to look for the signs that time has passed, or that something is occurring at the same time as something else and it's not chronologically timed. When they're having their when they're creating the Lord Featherington and we see all the different scenes that go on, that is supposed to tell us that time is passing so that we know that Colin and Penelope spent all day exploring each other's bodies.
I really do
Not
wish
to mention the lighting's different.
Yes. I really do wish that they had kept the, what do we call it? Where do you know them, Natasha? Kept the
Keep searching.
I found it. I really wish that they had kept the dates on the dance cards, because those were brilliant to give us an idea of what was going on and when. And I don't really know why, apart from not wanting to feed into any continuity errors or anything. I don't know why they stopped showing us those dance cards, because they were a fun little Easter egg to find.
Because I don't think that the new regime understood how much Easter eggs were in the old regime.
Yeah. Just the term regime just makes me nervous.
But I mean, it's you have people that watch something for entertainment, and then you have people that watch something and they really get into it and they look for all these things. And it would be let's say you're the the showrunner, you're the head writer for a show that is created around the Taylor Swift, no, what's the word? Like all of your work, like her discography.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say we're creating a television show. You're creating a television show that is based on these. So all the songs are going to be Britney songs, but the story's going to play into it, right? You then decide to leave to move on to other projects, and I take over. Passive fan. I enjoy the music, but I don't know all of the lore. I don't understand all the Easter eggs. I don't look for clues. We would create two very different shows.
Dramatic.
So I think that one person put all these things in. They wanted to, because we were going to have future seasons. And I think that Chris understood that we were going to have future seasons. So he wanted to put Easter eggs in, like Penelope saying, I do not know how babies come to be made without being married, but I intend on finding out. Well, that's a huge Easter egg. And the fact that the dance card at Danbury's first ball was April 6th.
I feel like Penelope being in yellow all the time was also another huge Easter egg for us, because as we see, and I love that Kate has picked up on this too, that maybe she may not like wearing the color yellow, but she is the symbol of the color yellow, Penelope, because Kate has adorned that room in yellow. Because what do we see around that clock? Flowers, yellow flowers everywhere. And as I talked about in our last episode, or one of our last episodes, I do not recall at this point, yellow is symbolizing friendship, joy, and happiness, which is exactly what the union of Colin and Penelope stands for. Friendship, joy, happiness. That is Colin and Pen to a T.
And all of the treats on the dessert table are blue, yellow, and pink.
Yes.
Blue, Bridgerton, and Penelope costuming over the season up until season 3 was yellow and pink together.
Yeah. So I do love that little like nod was in there as well. But for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode, where we cover from Benedict's introduction of Lady Tilly to the Ton and onwards. There's like 17
until whenever, because we
17, 18 more minutes of content to get through for this one party. So it's probably going to be a 4-parter. RIP our souls. We're probably going to have to go back to doing the hour-and-a-half plus episodes, because it's the only way we're going to like power through this content.
Get through, power through.
If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover, or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton Podcast. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you are listening.
And once again, just to let you know, we are attempting to get together for the second half drop of season 4, and various ways you can support us in doing so. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/TLB podcast, we have a way that you can donate to the fundraising of funds for the airline ticket. We are trying to send me to New Zealand, because that's more economical than bringing Tasha's whole family to the US.
Yes.
They
will not allow her in because she's the crazy.
We have a little nest egg started there. And once again, thank you to Maria and Anne and Di and Susan and
even just a regular patron. And we've got Julia. We've got
Julia on Patreon. Yes.
And
Patreon is the next one.
Don't forget our number 1 fanfic writer. That isn't you.
And Sarah's over on Patreon too.
Yes.
Well, she's the one that's continued it. I haven't had any time.
Sarah is our champion.
I know she's had her moments though, where she's had a lot of life and set it aside and then come back to it.
Yeah.
You can also support us at patreon.com/the Ladies Bridgerton. That one is membership based. You do gain some, obviously at Buy Me a Coffee. If you contribute to Buy Me a Coffee, you become a sponsor of Pod Snacks. And if you support us at Patreon, there's different things that come in with that. Speaking of, Maria, now that you're a Patreoness, please email your Bridgerton love story to the Ladies Bridgerton pod at gmail.com so that we can read it on the podcast. Thank you. And then we also have merchandise at Teespring, which is now called Spring. And that is https://ladies-bridgerton-podcast.creator-spring.com. It's the longest link ever. But the easiest way to do it is to Google Teespring, scroll down, because Shopify and Printful and all them try and steal Teespring customers.
Yeah.
So scroll down until you find Spring, formerly Teespring, or however they word it on Google. And then you can search for us at the Ladies Bridgerton podcast and look at our merch. And all of the proceeds of the merch is going to fundraising to try and get us together for the second half drop. We plan on doing a watch party while I'm there. We're going to also do Zoom meetings. We just kind of decided this today that instead of podcasting as normal on her Tasha's Monday, my Sunday in the US, we are going to use that time to set up Zoom meetings with everyone who contributes and discuss season 4, because I'm sure everyone will have watched it by then. And we'll hold community discussion that will become podcast episodes all through March. So if you want to jump in on that, please visit us at one of those websites. Also see us on Facebook, as Tosh said. And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two exhausted mad women.
Tangerine women. Yours truly, Tosh the Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.